how has Samson Ebukam come along? He had the first sack of the season, 3 snaps into the season, and then none since, but you've gotten really good pressure out of that whole defensive front. So what are you seeing out of your edge rusher?
I think the thing about our group is it's about them rushing together, as a group. Bosa gets a lot of attention as the edge rusher, which is rightfully so because he's such a dynamic player. So it's just about all those guys, just whoever is opposite him or whoever's inside. It's all about those guys rushing together as one. So the more they can be coordinated, make sure they're communicating with their stunts and games the proper way and rushing together, like that's what makes our group go, and that's what makes our group effective is all those guys working together.
Kevin doesn't get talked about a lot, but it seems like he's been making an impact the last few games. What are you seeing from Kevin?
Yeah, I think Kevin is picked up right where he left off last season. Right, he's always done a really good job for his inside, whether it's against the run and also being able to affect the passer. Kevin has been very consistent for us, and he's showing up. These first 3 games, he's showing up. He's done a really good job. Our last game versus Denver. Right, he made plays for us. So Kevin has been very consistent. He's an active guy inside, really an athletic guy for his size who can really make plays, be disruptive in the backfield. So very pleased with where Kevin is for us.
Lenore's primarily been an outside corner in college, and he said he always saw himself that way, and then except for recently, and now he says he loves it. So it feels like he's found a new home, basically. What enabled him to kind of make that transition?
Yeah, I think it's just with all young players, it's just it takes time. With different guys, it takes time. I think you just seen mindset change over the past couple weeks, and he's been doing a really good job in practices, and he earned that right.
Odell Beckham for the Rams this year. Where are they going? In his absence, who are they turning to?
Yeah, I think with the Allen Robinson is still he's a really good player for them. With them adding him, he's been a good add for them. And also, it's just it's the Cooper Kupp show. Like no matter how you try to slice it up, where the guys are doubling, whatever it is, like the guy finds a way. I think the connection and chemistry with him and Stafford is one of the best I've seen in the league in a long time. Those guys are always in sync and they're always on the same page, which makes it tough as a defense to defend those guys because they're so good, they're so precise at what they do, and they make it a really tough challenge.
You've added that wrinkle with Skoranek as like a fullback, and you use that a little bit. What kind of challenges is something as unique as that present for you?
I don't see it as much of a challenge for teams that for us, like we've seen 2-back runs, going against our offense. So, and the guys in the backfield, we've seen that before. And they put it on offense. So it's not anything surprising for us defensively because we've seen 2-back runs. We've seen passes out of 2-back before. So something, you have to be aware of, which we've seen on tape. And, they do a really good job. He's not only just a receiver, he gets back there and he does a really good job of blocking, whether it's linebackers, nickels. Like he's a tough player who does a really good job for them in the run game. So we definitely respect what he's done and what he's put on tape. We're definitely not taking him lightly. The things he can do when you have a player who can play outside and move into fullback, it definitely helps you as a play caller offensively with the multiple things you can do.
Daniel Mosley and Javon Jennings have a past playing together back to college. When you see them go up against each other at practice, is there ever any extra juice or spice there?
Yeah, both of those guys are very, competitive, fiery guys, and it's really cool to see where both of them started in the NFL. Like both of them started, I think, practice squad, and just to see, like that's what the league is about. It doesn't matter like where you get in, but it's about the attitude and the mentality that you bring. That it doesn't matter that I'm practice squad, undrafted, 7th round. It's about that daily grind of continuing to get better. And that's what you see from E-Man and Javon. Those are 2 guys who have become really good players for us, guys we count on Sundays, and they come through in the clutch. So it's a cool story for both of those guys being teammates in college and to be teammates here in the NFL, and both guys still excelling at their craft and still not only thinking that they've made it and they've arrived, but I see 2 guys there who continue to push each other and continue to get better at practice.
Faced the Rams so many times throughout the years. Do they essentially do the same things on offense, the same principles, or have they changed and evolved throughout the years?
I mean, offenses are always changing. They always have their wrinkles, but I think every offense has their staple, right? Of staple in the run game, staple in the pass game, and then you have wrinkles off of that. So I think Sean and those guys have done a really good job of, being really, really good at the things they do, but also throwing the wrinkles in to keep you off guard and keep you off balance as a defense. So those guys do a great job. Much respect to those guys and the way they operate.
You have the two, according to PFF, you have 2 top 10 safeties. How does that change when Jimmy comes back? How do you see that room evolving with Jimmy back?
Whenever Jimmy gets back, we'll be happy to have Jimmy. And whenever you can say we're getting a player like Jimmy Ward back, that's a great problem to have. So, we'll figure that out once we cross that bridge. But I can't say enough about Gibson and Talanoa and what they've done back there and the instant chemistry that they've built in such a short time. Like, you don't see that happen much. But I think with Gibson being a veteran and Huff just soaking in everything that, all the knowledge that Gip has to offer him, it's been cool to see.
What do you think that happened?
I think it's just, in this league, I always talk about it's just, or Gibson, it's just, that's what the veterans do in the league, right? It's always, the league has always been about giving back. So the younger players now, we're standing on the shoulders of the guys who came before us, whether it was guys fighting for free agency to get guys to the point where they're getting the contracts they're getting now. Like, older players always paved the path for the younger guys. And so it's a respect factor as what are you leaving the game? What are you leaving guys in the locker room as you're an older veteran? What are you giving back to the game? Because we know we've all received something from players who come before us. So that's what the league is all about, right? That's what true locker room is about, when you have older guys who can, not worry about themselves, but it's all about giving back to the younger players.
Tonight there was a pretty scary scene with Miami and Tua.
Yeah.
I'm curious what your reaction was to it and whether what concerns you have about the concussion protocol that's been played.
Yeah, I mean, it was touching. It was tough to watch. Watching Tua go down. Just praying that he's okay. I hate to see any player, go through that. And we know he had it on Sunday, and for it to happen to him again on Thursday, it's just something you don't want to see happen to anybody. And we just have to trust that the concussion protocols that we have in place, we have to trust that those things are set up to. They're at the best interest of our players and the best interest of our game, because our game is nothing without the players and them being healthy. That's the most important thing. Health and safety is the first and foremost. That's the most important thing about the game, and that's what allows the game to grow, is our guys being healthy and being able to push through. So we're hoping that Tua is okay and everything is fine, and just trusting that those protocols are good for us.
Some Talanoa's like past coaches have talked about how many questions he used to ask, like almost to the point of like stop. Does he still have that, or did he have that as a rookie?
Yeah, he asked questions, and I'm like, bring him on. So I don't know what's wrong with those other coaches, but but I'm always like, bring it on. Like, when the player is asking questions, I think as a coach, like, you want that. You want guys who are, man, they want to know the why. Like, why are we doing this? Or, coach, how exactly do you want me? Where do you want me to be on this? Like, I love that in Huff. I love that in all the players. Like, if you're asking those questions, that lets me know as a coach that you're into it and you want to know the why. You want to know why, not just, I'm just doing something just because the coach told me to do it. And that's what separates Huff, and that's why he's sticking out amongst everybody, is because he asked those questions. He's processing everything throughout the week. So when you see him on Sunday, he can cut it loose. And that's what everybody's seen, and that's why, he's been exciting to watch these first 3 weeks, just because of those questions.